1 in 4 UK workers hit £0 before the month is over, and it's usually our own fault. Today, I'll fix that in 5 minutes with the exact 3-pot system that I used to build £6,000 in 6 months. My name's Shane, I'm a finance manager and a qualified chartered accountant, and I didn't always have my payday routine figured out until I came across this system. I've tried many different complicated systems, but simplicity is the key, because the best system is the one that you actually stick with long term. And the way that you stick with things long term is making them as simple as possible. So the first thing to do is pay yourself first. We all know the situation where you get paid and then you do a rough number of things throughout the month and then you wonder where all your money has gone. In this system, immediately as soon as you get paid on payday, put a percentage of that away into savings or investments immediately. For me, I try to put away exactly 25% of whatever income I get that month. Usually I'll transfer this straight away using a bank transfer into my trading 212 with the payment details already set up, or I'll use Monzo and put it into a savings pot. So that money is no longer included in my main balance and it's already been set aside for the future version of myself. Before you give your money to anybody else in this world, before it gets spent on other companies and utilities and rent and all these other things and the things that you want to buy, you should come first. And this allows you to automate and build that discipline and habit straight away. At present, 30% of people in the UK have £0 in savings, and it's a lot worse in the US. With this exact system in paying yourself first before you give your money to anybody else, sets you up for success. And because it gets taken out immediately, it's something that you don't have to think about or have a visual reminder of. It's immediately setting yourself up. Imagine yourself in 6 months' time and you look back and you've been automatically putting this amount in every single month. You're gonna thank yourself, and even if you can't begin with a huge amount like 25%, maybe it's even less, start the habit and change your mindset. Even if it's £10, £100, whatever you can, start the habit now. Every single month, try and put some money to pay yourself first before you pay anybody else. Then second, we have our fixed costs. These are things that we usually have to pay every single month without fail. And they're usually about the same amount. And these things can include mortgage payments, rent, and bills. The way that I do this, I already have direct debits set up for all of these recurring payments. So they come out of my account automatically. What I do is add up how much all these are going to be in the space of 30 days in 1 month. And on payday, I'll set up a pot in Monzo, call it rent and bills, and transfer that exact amount into that pot. So it's no longer in the main balance of money that I think I have. It's now set aside for everything I'm going to have to pay for in terms of rent and bills and fixed costs for the next 30 days. You can see here in this pot that a lot of my payments and rent has already gone out, and I still have £230 left to cover any remaining expenses until my next payday. And another layer of automation that I've got here is that you can have the direct debits take the money from this pot. So when that amount comes due to be paid, it will take the money straight out of that pot and not affect your main balance. It's a full automation for direct debits in a separate pot. The median UK payday is the 17th of the month, and it can be before or after for a lot of people. And it often clouds how much money you actually have in your bank account when you have these bills coming out at random times of the month. This system saves you from that stress. So at this point, your money has come in on payday. You've already put 25% or whatever you can away in a pot for the future you in investment or savings. And then you've already put in your fixed costs for the next 30 days into a separate pot. So you have an amount left that you can actually work with after you've paid yourself and covered what you definitely have to spend for the next month. So in this third pot, this amount you can spend guilt-free because you've already covered your other areas. At this point, you don't necessarily need any fancy budget or any sort of tracking. You can say, let's say you have £1,000 left. You know you have 30 days left to spend that, and you can spend that on various things. You can eat out, you can get takeaways, you can use that to buy food that you really like, healthy food, you can buy really cheap food, some travel, socializing, entertainment. One last thing I would usually do here is that I usually do budget. So if there are things coming up that I know that I'm going to need to spend money on, any large purchases, let's say I'm going away for 1 weekend and I need to buy train tickets. At this point, I might set up another pot just for large purchases that I know are coming in. And I would transfer, let's say train tickets are £75. I'd transfer that £75 in there so that it's not part of the main balance that I have to spend on things throughout the month. And when it comes time to pay that amount, I would just pay that amount and then take it back out of the pot to my main balance. This is a super simple system that I've come to trust because it actually allows me to stick with it and see real progress without having to overload on any complicated spreadsheets or transfers, and it's a route that I'm going towards much further. The simplicity gives you clarity and it leads to real action and results. If this has made you think about your money slightly differently, and at the very least knowing that you need to pay yourself first before anybody else, then you might like some of the other videos that I have. I talk a little bit more in depth about my general money management system right here.